Hey guys, Kori here. Welcome to Monday and your Motivational Mastery episode. This is number 27, and we're talking about happy. I posted a video 2 weeks ago about my desire to kind of dive into that topic over the next month or so, and a lot of you had some pretty provocative comments that you'd posted. Loved it. Thank you. They really got me thinking. But my big question to you was, what is happiness? Where does it come from? Have you ever wondered that? How do you get more of it? Like, what factors are involved in creating happiness? Why are some people happier than other people? So we're going to look today at 5 ways to find your happy and what happens when we look at happiness as an outcome. So many of you said that happiness was what you feel when you do something specific, right? You purposefully engage in an activity in order to feel happy. I do too. I prepare my meals a certain way because it makes me happy to know that I'm consuming something that is both healthy and delicious. And I have this thing about making sure that my meal is beautiful. Also, we had not gone grocery shopping yesterday morning, and I was making my breakfast, and I actually said, this breakfast doesn't make me very happy. It doesn't have enough color in it. I have a thing about that. But here's another example. I exercise just about every single morning because I know that I'm going to feel more energetic, more alive, more enthusiastic if I get a workout in at the start of my day. I've mentioned to a number of my clients who, when I've asked when they're working out, and they say, well, whenever I can fit it in, I'm like, well, how much time are you spending thinking about exercising all day long and wondering about it and when it's going to happen? Well, all day long. Guys, that doesn't make for a happy person. That's energy that's being diverted from places where we need it. So just think about that. The things that you do on a daily basis or don't do that can divert from you feeling happy. Okay. Here's another one. I make sure that I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep most nights of the week, if possible, because I know that I'm going to be happier throughout the day. Another, I kiss my partner goodnight every single night. If we're sleeping in the same bed and we're in the same house, he's getting a kiss. Why? Because I made that promise, and I made it to myself. Because I'm happier when I follow through with the things that are important to me. So yes, indeed, happiness does come as a result of actions that we engage in, actions that we take. It's an outcome. Now, on the flip side of that is I view happiness in the same way that I view motivation, okay? As a foundation for my life. So I don't necessarily look at it as something that is either here or not here. And a lot of people look at motivation that way. You've probably heard yourself say, like, I don't have any motivation. Well, you do. We're just not accessing it in the right way, or you're not understanding what motivation is about. But I feel that it's always there. It is influenced, of course, by the circumstances in my life as well as my mood and emotional state. But I view happiness as it's the vitality with which I pursue my most important goals, be it within my relationships, within fitness and health and wellness, within my career, within my self-development, within my spirituality, all of those different kind of spheres of my life. So happiness can very well be the result of doing something in particular. And if we recognize what activities actually nourish us and really produce a feeling of like aliveness and fullness and curiosity or creativity, don't you think that we need actual practices in our lives to ensure that we can, on a foundational level, be happier most of the time? You know, I think if we look at happiness only as an end point, then we're missing the boat in a lot of ways. We have to be instead active participants in what creates it for us on a regular basis. And this is actually what the research shows. The happiest people on the planet are the ones that have work to do. They're the ones whose minds are occupied, okay? They behave in ways that are not tied to extrinsic motivators like image, like status, and here's a big one that I know a lot of people out there hang their hats on for motivation, and it's external validation, okay? Looking outside of yourself for approval. Big one, okay? People who are the most happy don't do that, okay? The people who are most happy are engaged. I love this word. It's so rich, right? I want you to remember that word, okay? These people are engaged in their lives. Now, we are, in fact, unhappiest when we're not doing anything, when we're idle. And maybe that doesn't surprise you. How happy are you when you would label yourself as being bored, right? The other thing that doesn't necessarily bring us happiness, and this is from a long-term perspective, now there's a caveat, but in general, are material goods, okay? They can provide that little blip on the radar of a sense of pleasure, like we get a dopamine spurt from our brains. Unless, okay, we can derive long-term sense of happiness and fulfillment, sense of contentment from material goods that we are using consistently, okay? That we get a sense of fulfillment out of regularly. Big example for me, my bike. I didn't spend a ton, but I use it all the time, okay? Things like that. Things that are related to the other big spheres of your life, okay? That's part of my fitness and health and wellness and that value for me. Again, the most happy people are doing things that are connected and aligned with their values, all right? There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that really, really resonates with me in this regard. He said that the purpose of life isn't to be happy, okay? It is to be useful, it's to be honorable, and it's to be compassionate. And to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. That's got some depth to it, right? And this fits with happiness being tied to extrinsic motivators, extrinsically oriented behavior. So doing things for the pure enjoyment and fulfillment of it, because it's connected to who you are and what you value, what your principles are in life. You know what else has been tied to happiness in the research? There are 5 characteristics that have been shown to create a greater sense of happiness overall. And these are character strengths, okay? They are zest, hope, love, gratitude, and curiosity, all right? Zest, hope, love, gratitude, and curiosity. So I'm going to ask you guys this. How are you showing up in the world, okay, within your relationships, within your career, with your health and wellness, that is demonstrative of these 5 characteristics? How are you bringing these 5 characteristics into those spheres of your life? Okay? If you've ever heard yourself say something like, quote, I'll be happy when, fill in the blank, let's use weight loss as an example. I'll be happy when I lose 25 pounds. I'll finally be happy then. You have really officially chosen to just decide not to be happy. And to me, that's pretty asinine. It is. Why, when being happy and acting happy and doing the things that fulfill you towards happiness, why would you choose to do that when those things could actually serve you in achieving the goal that you're after? So this hope of happiness later, like that sort of hope doesn't count, guys. It doesn't count in creating happiness. So I think it's really, really important to ask ourselves very powerful questions, and sometimes sentence stems work really well, like the one I just gave you, to get us to think creatively. The questions that we ask ourselves make it possible to guide us toward happiness. And knowing that these 5 characteristics create happiness, I wanted to give you 5 questions to ask yourself based on those 5 characteristics. Okay, ready? Write these down, because I want you to answer them. So number 1, if I were to live with 5% more zest in my relationships, and just pick one relationship. In my relationship with so-and-so, ... Finish it. Number 2, when the situation is not ideal, I can hope for a better future and take responsibility for what I do have an influence over. What about this situation may I influence? Okay, this is one of the questions, the number 1 questions that I ask myself so regularly, because it's like endemic to most people to begin to feel anxious and chaotic and feel like they don't have a choice. But we do. We always have a choice in terms of how we're going to respond to whatever situation we're in. And one of the most generative questions we can ask ourselves as we're taking some deep breaths is, okay, hang on, wait a second. What about this situation may I influence? Clearly, there are some things we just can't, but what can we? Here's number 3. This is finish this sentence. Love means ... Okay. I will show love toward myself each day by, and you could add on to that. I will show love toward my partner each day by. I will show love toward my best friend each day by. I will show love toward humanity each day by. You guys see what I'm doing here? I'm getting you to focus on these character strengths. All of them are going to lead to greater happiness. Here's number 4. I will show gratitude today toward blank by blank. 5. What question might I ask today to understand something I've been wondering about? If you started your morning each day with that question, and this is focused on curiosity, what have I been wondering about that I've stopped myself from asking? Is there someone that I've wanted to talk to and ask them? Have I wanted to ask them a question, but I'm stopping for some reason? If I were going to act with a bit more curiosity today, who might I talk to? What might I ask? What might I research? What might I look into? And I want to add one more. How am I bringing zest, hope, love, gratitude, and curiosity into my life? Just the big, broad, overriding question, guys. Because you may really be thriving in one area, and I hear this all the time, I do so well in my career. Why can't I get my health and fitness and weight loss together? How come I can't do it in that situation? Okay, so you may do really well in one area, but really struggle in another. So this question, it'll really help you take an honest, real assessment. Okay, how am I bringing zest, hope, love, gratitude and curiosity into my life. All right. So here's where I come back to that word I told you to remember before, engaged, right? And here's the question I want you to ask yourself. This is number 7. How am I fully engaging in this life? You could just going through the motions. I'm going to tell you, that's not going to bring you happiness. It isn't. Okay? An aware, conscious, curious, loving, zestful, grateful, hopeful attitude will. So ask yourself, am I waiting for happy, or am I actively, purposefully pursuing my values and these 5 character strengths, and in the process, building happiness into the foundation of my life? Don't rest on happy as an outcome, guys, as an outcome to a goal. Don't rest on that. Go get happy right now, okay? Look at happy as your foundation, as the scaffolding of your life, as your approach that you take moment to moment to moment, and that's grounded in your principles and grounded in your values, all right? So here's to pursuing happiness in a very foundational, fulfilling way together. Thanks, guys.